Hi, I'm just playing with my virtue hat. And I'm also just noticing Ruth Bader Ginsburg at top middle of those nine photos, nine heroes of mine. And I'll talk about the others at a later time. But yeah, I'm struck by what she has done, and obviously she's going to be missed personally. And what's going to happen in the Supreme Court obviously remains to be seen. But we're all paying close attention. And one of the things that's going to be affected, no doubt, is diversity, equity, inclusion in the workplace. And hopefully we're going to keep trending in a very positive direction. So if you look at history, we have made progress on LGBTQ rights as well as women's rights in the workplace. Pay equity, a lot of good things have been happening, and we're trending positively. And to keep that up, how are we going to do that? Now, I'm going to be brief, and I'm going to point you to some content that we have developed over the past actually several years, but really over the past several months on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Adrienne Pettifort from Pymetrics had a great level of insight as she used to work with the EEOC and really understands the core elements of diversity, equity, and inclusion measurement. With Stephen Wang of Collective, we talked about the need to be courageous and actually go and ask for data that formerly wasn't captured. So going outside the limits of the standardized reporting, and much of it's not required. It's really a leader decision to say, okay, this is important, this is non-negotiable. And obviously you have to get legal on board, and there's this been driving sentiment that, well, if we start collecting this data, then we're going to be liable. And increasingly what's happening is you're going to be liable as a business leader for not going out and collecting the data, because this is why. We're showing certain demographic reports, and we will continue to do so, from gender to minority groups and what have you. And if those profiles of an organization, that demographic mix is similar to other organizations, particularly in similar industries and similar geographies, that have shown to have issues, then there's a higher probability that an employee or group of employees can say, hey, my organization knowingly saw other things happening in like organizations and did nothing about it here in our organization. Now, you might be listening and regard that as a stretch. I'm looking at 12, 24, 36 months when more of this information is going to be out there. Because particularly in remote work, more data is being collected, almost if we don't want it to be collected or not. And we can talk about the ethics, and we have, and will continue to do so about this. At the same time, that data exists. Who owns it? Is there a responsibility to actually analyze it as opposed to just take the ostrich approach and stick your head in the sand? So going to DE&I measurement, I do not have a straight, here's the answer, go after these metrics. What's going to be appropriate for you in your geography, in your industry, is going to be largely up to you all. But it's going to take creativity. It's going to be working with legal counsel to say, what is actually going to be appropriate? Where are the boundaries? We'll obviously stay in the legal boundaries. At the same time, there's going to have to be a courageous stance, particularly if there's a belief that something unfair is happening. That goes to that equity part. I am so excited about, and I'm not going to give it all away right now, but diversity, equity, inclusion is probably the overriding theme of the upcoming People, Analytics, and Future of Work conference. I would say that, and workforce planning and engaging employees in the remote work environment. But this pursuit for greater equity, greater fairness in the workplace is something that has been a long struggle. It's been something that hasn't really taken form. And now that it's part of the diversity and inclusion efforts, now diversity, equity, and inclusion, now it has a home. And given that, there are more employee councils, employee committees, talent strategy groups that are being spun up to actually look at this question as part of how talent strategies are formed, how cultures are formed and maintained over time. So I encourage you to go to the podcast, go to our YouTube channel, and look at some of this great content, great ideas. I'm going to be writing an article in the wake of PAFOW Global Online on the 5th and 6th on this very topic. There's going to be a meta-analysis of what's happening with innovative DEI measures. But until then, go over there to our YouTube channel, check it out, and hope you find it valuable. So certainly more to share. So we're going to take a short break, and we're going to talk about the talent and culture framework. And then we're going to get into a discussion with Ian Cook about the SEC disclosure rules and what it means for the CHRO. So we'll see you in a few minutes.